My child, I know there have been moments when you looked at your life and wondered if something was wrong. Moments when doors closed unexpectedly. Moments when relationships fell apart. Moments when opportunities disappeared. Moments when disappointment seemed to follow you wherever you went. And during those difficult seasons, a thought quietly entered your mind. What if I am cursed? What if something is working against me? What if I will never escape this cycle? My child, listen to me carefully. You were never cursed. The truth is far different than what fear has been telling you. The truth is far greater than the lies that have tried to keep you trapped. The truth may shock you because it changes everything. You were not cursed. You were being prepared. You were not rejected. You were being redirected. You were not abandoned. You were being protected. You were not forgotten. You were being positioned. My child, fear has a way of creating stories that sound convincing. When enough disappointments happen, fear begins connecting them together. When enough setbacks occur, fear begins creating explanations. And before long, people begin believing things that were never true. They begin believing they are unlucky. They begin believing they are doomed. They begin believing they are cursed. But I want you to understand something. A lie repeated many times does not become truth. Truth remains truth. And the truth is this: you belong to me. You are loved by me. You are known by me. You are protected by me. You are guided by me. A curse does not define your life. My purpose defines your life. My child, there were seasons when you watched other people move ahead while you remained waiting. You saw others receiving opportunities, others finding relationships, others experiencing breakthroughs, others celebrating victories. And meanwhile, you wondered why your own journey seemed slower, why your own path seemed harder, why your own story seemed more complicated. And because you did not understand what was happening, fear filled the gaps with false conclusions. But my child, delays are not evidence of curses. Delays are often evidence of preparation. Some blessings require preparation. Some opportunities require growth. Some assignments require maturity. And because I love you, I prepare you before I promote you. I prepare you before I increase responsibility. I prepare you before I release certain blessings. My child, if you truly understood how many things I protected you from, you would thank me for some of the delays. You would thank me for some of the closed doors. You would thank me for some of the relationships that ended. You would thank me for some of the opportunities that disappeared. Because not everything that looked good was good for you. Not every open door was sent for you. Not every relationship was meant to stay. Not every opportunity was meant to continue. I was protecting you, even when you did not understand it. My child, there are people listening right now who spent years believing something was wrong with them. Years believing they were unlucky. Years believing they would never break free. Years believing darkness had more power than light. But hear me clearly. Darkness has never been greater than my power. Fear has never been greater than my authority. And no lie has ever been greater than my truth. You were never cursed. You were simply seeing your story from an incomplete perspective. Because when people only see one chapter, they often misunderstand the entire book. You looked at one difficult season and assumed it was your destiny. You looked at one painful chapter and assumed it was your future. You looked at one setback and assumed it defined your life. But my child, one chapter never defines the entire story. I am still writing your story. I am still opening doors. I am still creating opportunities. I am still arranging circumstances. I am still working behind the scenes. And what I am preparing is greater than what you currently see. My child, I want you to release this burden today. Release the belief that something is wrong with you. Release the belief that you are destined for failure. Release the belief that your future is doomed. Release the belief that you are cursed. Because none of those beliefs came from me. I speak hope. I speak life. I speak purpose. I speak destiny. I speak restoration. And today I am telling you again, you were never cursed. You were chosen. You were never forgotten. You were loved. You were never abandoned. You were guided. You were never defeated. You were being strengthened. My child, the truth that will shock you is this. Many of the things you called curses were actually protection. Many of the things you called delays were actually preparation. Many of the things you called losses were actually redirection. And many of the things you called endings were actually new beginnings in disguise. Trust me, the story is not over. In fact, some of the most beautiful chapters are still ahead. And when you finally see what I was doing all along, you will realize that my hand never left your life for a single moment. Not once. Not ever. I was there. I am here. And I will continue leading you forward. My child, there is a reason I am speaking to your heart today. Because for too long you have carried questions that were never meant to become burdens. Questions about why certain things happened. Questions about why certain people left. Questions about why some prayers seemed unanswered. Questions about why some seasons felt so difficult. And because answers did not come immediately, fear stepped into the silence and began telling its own story. Fear told you that you were forgotten. Fear told you that you were unlucky. Fear told you that something was wrong with your life. Fear told you that perhaps you were cursed. But my child, fear has never been a trustworthy teacher. Fear only sees what is directly in front of it. I see the entire journey. Fear only sees today's struggle. I see tomorrow's victory. Fear only sees the closed door. I see the better door that is waiting ahead. That is why you must trust my perspective more than your fears. My child, there were opportunities you desperately wanted. Opportunities you prayed for. Opportunities you worked for. Opportunities you believed would change everything. Yet they disappeared. At the time it felt painful. At the time it felt unfair. At the time it felt confusing. But what if I told you that some of those opportunities would have taken you away from your purpose? What if I told you that some of those opportunities carried hidden problems you could not see? What if I told you that some of those opportunities would have delayed your growth rather than advanced it? You saw rejection. I saw protection. You saw disappointment. I saw redirection. You saw loss. I saw preservation. My child, there are blessings that only make sense in hindsight. Blessings that do not look like blessings at first. Blessings disguised as delays. Blessings disguised as closed doors. Blessings disguised as interruptions. Blessings disguised as changes in direction. And because they arrive in unexpected forms, many people mistake them for curses. But they are not curses. They are evidence of my care. Evidence of my wisdom. Evidence of my guidance. My child, one of the enemy's greatest strategies is convincing people to misinterpret their own lives. To look at temporary difficulties and assume permanent defeat. To look at a painful season and assume a hopeless future. To look at a delay and assume abandonment. But my child, temporary situations do not determine eternal outcomes. A difficult season is not your identity. A setback is not your identity. A disappointment is not your identity. Your identity comes from me. And I call you loved. I call you chosen. I call you valuable. I call you worthy of grace. I call you mine. My child, there were times when you compared your life to the lives of others. You watched their progress. You watched their success. You watched their blessings. And you wondered why your journey looked different. You wondered why your path seemed longer. You wondered why your story seemed more complicated. But comparison hides an important truth. You do not know what I am preparing them for. And they do not know what I am preparing you for. Every assignment is different. Every purpose is different. Every journey is different. And because the purpose is different, the preparation must also be different. Do not measure your progress against someone else's timeline. Trust my timing. Trust my process. Trust my wisdom. My child, there are things happening right now that you cannot yet see. Doors being prepared. People being positioned. Opportunities developing. Circumstances aligning. Answers approaching. Just because you cannot see movement does not mean movement is absent. I am working. I am arranging. I am preparing. I am guiding. Even now. My child, the truth that will shock you is not that you were cursed. The truth that will shock you is how much I protected you without your knowledge. How many dangers you never saw. How many wrong paths you never traveled. How many harmful situations you never entered. How many painful consequences you never experienced because my hand intervened. One day you will understand. One day you will see. One day you will look back and realize that many of your greatest blessings arrived disguised as disappointments. And when that understanding comes, your heart will be filled with gratitude, because you will finally see what I was doing all along. My child, stop calling yourself cursed. Stop calling yourself unlucky. Stop speaking defeat over your future. Stop agreeing with fear. Start agreeing with my promises. Start agreeing with my truth. Start agreeing with my purpose. Because the words you believe shape the way you see your future. And your future is not cursed. Your future is filled with possibility. Your future is filled with purpose. Your future is filled with opportunities. Your future is filled with growth. Your future is filled with hope. My child, I know there are still questions you carry. Questions that remain unanswered. Questions that remain difficult. Questions that still bring pain. But trust me with those questions. You do not need every answer today. You only need enough faith to take the next step. And I will guide you one step at a time. One season at a time. One lesson at a time. One blessing at a time. Because that is how I often work. Not by revealing everything at once, but by revealing enough to keep moving forward. My child, the story is not over. The chapter you are living right now is not the final chapter. There is more healing ahead, more growth ahead, more wisdom ahead, more peace ahead, more joy ahead, more purpose ahead. And when those future chapters arrive, you will understand something that may seem impossible to believe today. You will understand that I never cursed you. I never abandoned you. I never forgot you. I never stopped working. I never stopped caring. I never stopped loving you. I was preparing you all along. My child, I know there were nights when you sat alone with your thoughts. Nights when the questions felt heavier than the answers. Nights when you replayed painful memories. Nights when you wondered why your journey seemed harder than expected. And during those moments, you searched for explanations. You searched for reasons. You searched for understanding. Because the human heart naturally wants answers. It wants clarity. It wants certainty. It wants to know why. But my child, sometimes what appears to be a curse is actually a classroom. Sometimes what appears to be punishment is actually preparation. Sometimes what appears to be loss is actually protection. And sometimes what appears to be the end is actually the beginning of something far greater. My child, if you could see your life through my eyes, many things would suddenly make sense. You would see how certain disappointments redirected you away from unnecessary pain. You would see how certain delays protected you from premature opportunities. You would see how certain endings created room for better beginnings. You would see how my hand was guiding you even when you believed you were walking alone. Because you were never walking alone. Not for one day. Not for 1 hour. Not for one moment. I was with you. Every step. Every struggle. Every victory. Every setback. Every lesson. I was there. My child, there are people who spent years believing they were cursed simply because life did not happen according to their schedule. They expected immediate answers, immediate success, immediate breakthroughs, immediate clarity. And when those things did not arrive quickly, they assumed something was wrong. But my child, growth takes time. Wisdom takes time. Preparation takes time. Strong foundations take time. The strongest trees grow slowly. The strongest faith grows through seasons. The strongest character develops through experience. And that is exactly what I have been building inside you. Strength, wisdom, patience, discernment, faith. These gifts are more valuable than you realize. My child, there were moments when you thought you were falling behind. You looked at others and believed they were moving faster. You looked at others and believed they were succeeding more. You looked at others and believed they had easier paths. But comparison only shows part of the story. Comparison never reveals the full picture. You do not know the battles they face, and they do not know the battles you face. You do not know what I am preparing them for, and they do not know what I am preparing you for. Trust the path I have given you. Trust the pace I have chosen for you. Trust the timing I have established for you. Because my timing is not random. My timing is purposeful. My timing is wise. My timing is loving. My child, the enemy wanted you to interpret every setback as evidence that you were cursed. But what if the truth is the opposite? What if those setbacks taught lessons that will protect your future? What if those disappointments developed wisdom that will save you from future mistakes? What if those delays strengthened your character in ways success never could? What if those difficult seasons prepared you for blessings you are not yet able to imagine? The truth is often very different from what fear suggests. Fear sees problems. I see purpose. Fear sees obstacles. I see opportunities. Fear sees endings. I see beginnings. Fear sees darkness. I see possibility. My child, there are blessings approaching your life that will completely change your perspective. Blessings that will cause you to look back and understand. Blessings that will make previous delays make sense. Blessings that will explain previous disappointments. Blessings that will reveal why certain doors had to close. You do not see them yet, but I do. And they are coming. Trust me. My child, stop speaking negatively about your future. Stop expecting failure before it happens. Stop agreeing with fear. Stop calling yourself unlucky. Stop calling yourself cursed. Your words matter. The beliefs you repeat matter. The thoughts you entertain matter. Fill your mind with my promises. Fill your heart with my truth. Fill your spirit with hope. Because hope sees what fear cannot see. Hope sees possibilities. Hope sees opportunities. Hope sees tomorrow. And I am calling you to live with hope. My child, I know there are still wounds that need healing. still disappointments that need understanding, still questions that remain unanswered. But healing is coming. Understanding is coming. Clarity is coming. Peace is coming. Do not rush the process. Do not force the answers. Allow me to lead you. Allow me to guide you. Allow me to reveal things in the proper time. Because the proper time always brings the proper understanding. My child, one day you will tell your story differently. You will no longer describe yourself as cursed. You will describe yourself as protected. You will no longer describe yourself as forgotten. You will describe yourself as guided. You will no longer describe yourself as unlucky. You will describe yourself as blessed. You will no longer focus on what went wrong. You will focus on how I carried you through it all. And when that day comes, your testimony will inspire others. Your story will encourage others. Your journey will strengthen others. Because they will see proof that I never abandoned you. I never forgot you. I never left you. I was preparing you all along. And my preparation is leading you towards something beautiful, something meaningful, something greater than you currently imagine. Trust me, my child. The best chapters are still ahead. My child, there is something I need you to understand today. Many of the battles you blamed on a curse were actually battles of growth. Many of the delays you blamed on bad luck were actually seasons of preparation. Many of the closed doors you blamed on rejection were actually acts of protection. And many of the endings that broke your heart were creating room for something better. My child, I know that may be difficult to believe, because when you are standing in the middle of pain, it is hard to see purpose. When you are standing in the middle of disappointment, it is hard to see opportunity. When you are standing in the middle of uncertainty, it is hard to see direction. But just because you cannot see it does not mean it isn't there. The seed cannot see the tree it will become. The dawn cannot see the full brightness of noon. And often, you cannot see what I am building until the proper season arrives. That does not mean I am absent. It means I am working. My child, there were moments when you felt left behind. You watched others move forward. You watched others succeed. You watched others celebrate milestones. And quietly you asked yourself, why not me? Why is my journey taking so long? Why does everything seem harder for me? But my child, your story is not late. Your story is not behind schedule. Your story is unfolding according to a purpose bigger than you currently understand. The timing of your life is not determined by comparison. The timing of your life is determined by my wisdom. And my wisdom sees what human eyes cannot. My child, some blessings arrive quickly. Other blessings require deep preparation. The larger the assignment, the deeper the preparation often becomes. The greater the responsibility, the greater the growth required beforehand. And there are things I am preparing you for that require strength you did not yet possess in earlier seasons. That is why I allowed certain lessons. That is why I allowed certain delays. That is why I allowed certain challenges. Not because I wanted to punish you, but because I wanted to prepare you. My child, I have never enjoyed seeing your pain. I have never ignored your tears. I have never dismissed your prayers. Every tear mattered. Every prayer mattered. Every moment mattered. Even when it felt like heaven was silent. I was listening. Even when it felt like nothing was changing. I was working. Even when it felt like nobody understood. I understood. Because I know your heart completely. I know your fears. I know your hopes. I know your disappointments. I know your dreams. And I know exactly what you need. My child, there are people who spent years believing they were cursed simply because they misunderstood the season they were in. A winter season is not a dead season. A waiting season is not a wasted season. A preparation season is not a punishment season. Every season has purpose. Every season teaches something. Every season develops something valuable. And your current season is doing the same. My child, I want you to think about how much stronger you are today than you were before. Think about how much wiser you are. Think about how much more discerning you are. Think about how much more resilient you are. Those qualities did not appear by accident. They were developed through experience. They were developed through challenges. They were developed through lessons. And those lessons are becoming part of the foundation for your future. My child, there are things approaching your life right now that would have overwhelmed the version of you from a few years ago. But the person you are becoming is ready. The person you are becoming is stronger. The person you are becoming is wiser. The person you are becoming is more prepared. And because of that growth, you will be able to handle future blessings with maturity and wisdom. My child, stop looking at your life through the lens of fear. Fear distorts reality. Fear exaggerates problems. Fear hides possibilities. Fear creates false conclusions. Instead, Look through the lens of faith. Faith sees my hand at work. Faith sees purpose in the process. Faith sees hope in the waiting. Faith sees opportunity beyond the obstacle. And faith sees a future brighter than the present moment. My child, there is a day coming when many of your unanswered questions will finally make sense. You will understand why certain people left. You will understand why certain doors closed. You will understand why certain plans changed. You will understand why certain delays happened. And when that understanding arrives, you will not say, I was cursed. You will say, Jesus was protecting me. You will say, Jesus was guiding me. You will say, Jesus was preparing me. You will say, Jesus never left me. Because that is the truth. The truth that fear tried to hide. The truth that doubt tried to silence. The truth that changes everything. You were never cursed. You were loved. You were never forgotten. You were remembered. You were never abandoned. You were guided. You were never doomed. You were destined for growth. My child, trust me with the chapters you do not understand. Trust me with the questions that remain unanswered. Trust me with the future you cannot yet see. Because I can see what you cannot. I know what you do not know. And I am leading you towards something beautiful, something meaningful, something worth the wait. Stay close to me. Keep believing. Keep moving forward. Because the story is far from over. And the best chapters are still being written. My child, if you are still listening, then I want you to hear this next truth with an open heart. Because this truth has the power to change the way you see your entire life. Many people spend years fighting battles that only exist because of what they believe. They believe they are doomed. They believe they are unlucky. They believe they are cursed. And because they believe those things, they begin expecting failure. They begin expecting disappointment. They begin expecting rejection. They begin expecting loss. Without realizing it, they train themselves to see every challenge as proof of those fears. But my child, I did not create you to live under fear. I did not create you to live under defeat. I did not create you to spend your life expecting the worst. I created you to walk in faith. I created you to walk in hope. I created you to walk in confidence that I am with you. My child, there have been moments when you interpreted delays as denial. You thought because something had not happened yet, it would never happen. You thought because a door closed, another would never open. You thought because a relationship ended, love would never return. You thought because a dream was delayed, it was dead. But my child, delays are not always denials. Sometimes delays are simply evidence that the timing is not yet complete. A farmer does not plant a seed in the morning and expect fruit by evening. Growth requires time. Preparation requires time. Development requires time. And many of the things I am doing in your life require time. My child, there are blessings that would have become burdens if they had arrived too early. There are opportunities that would have overwhelmed you if they had arrived too early. There are responsibilities that would have exhausted you if they had arrived too early. That is why my timing matters. Because I am not only preparing blessings for you, I am preparing you for blessings. My child, the enemy wanted you to believe that every struggle was evidence that something was wrong with you. But what if your struggles were evidence that something strong was being built within you? What if the pressure was creating perseverance? What if the waiting was creating patience? What if the obstacles were creating wisdom? What if the difficulties were creating strength? Because that is often how growth works. Growth rarely feels comfortable. Growth rarely feels easy. Growth often arrives disguised as challenge. Yet the results are priceless. My child, think about the person you have become. You are stronger than before, wiser than before, more discerning than before, more resilient than before. Those qualities were developed during seasons you once wanted to escape. Those qualities were developed during moments you once wished would end. And now they are becoming some of your greatest strengths. My child, there are people who looked at your life and assumed you were failing. But they only saw the surface. They did not see the preparation. They did not see the lessons. They did not see the growth. They did not see the foundation I was building. And foundations are often invisible until the structure begins to rise. My child, your future is being built upon a foundation of wisdom, experience, and faith. That foundation matters. Because the greater the future, the stronger the foundation must become. And I am building a strong foundation within you. My child, there are blessings approaching your life that will cause you to rethink many of your past disappointments. You will realize that some losses protected you. Some delays strengthened you. Some changes redirected you. Some endings prepared you. And what once looked like bad news will eventually reveal itself as part of a greater plan. Trust me, the story is larger than the chapter you are currently reading. The purpose is larger than the obstacle you are currently facing. The future is larger than the fear you are currently carrying. My child, I want you to stop speaking defeat over yourself. Stop saying you always fail. Stop saying nothing works out. Stop saying you are cursed. Stop saying your future is hopeless. Those words do not come from me. Speak life instead. Speak hope instead. Speak faith instead. Agree with my promises. Agree with my truth. Agree with what I say about you. Because what I say about you is greater than what fear says about you. My child, there is a breakthrough in perspective happening right now. You are beginning to see things differently. You are beginning to recognize my hand in situations where you once saw only disappointment. You are beginning to recognize my protection in situations where you once saw only rejection. You are beginning to recognize my guidance in situations where you once saw only confusion. And that new perspective will bring peace. Because peace often arrives when understanding arrives. My child, the truth that will shock you is not that life has been working against you. The truth is that I have been working for you all along. Even during the difficult seasons. Even during the painful chapters. Even during the confusing moments. Even during the waiting periods. I was there. Guiding. Protecting. Preparing. Strengthening, loving, and I am still doing those things today. So lift your head, release your fears, release the lies, release the false labels. You were never cursed. You were being prepared for a future greater than you could see, and that future is still ahead of you. Trust me, keep walking, keep believing, keep praying, because the best chapters are still coming. My child, there is something that fear never wants you to discover. Fear never wants you to realize how much power hope possesses. Fear never wants you to realize how much strength you already have. Fear never wants you to realize how many times I have carried you through situations that once seemed impossible. Because the moment you remember my faithfulness, fear begins losing its grip. The moment you remember how many battles I have already brought you through, fear becomes weaker. The moment you remember who walks beside you, fear loses its authority. My child, think back to the struggles that once kept you awake at night. The situations that once consumed your thoughts, the problems that once seemed overwhelming, the challenges that once appeared impossible to overcome. Many of those things are no longer controlling your life today. Many of those fears never became reality. Many of those obstacles eventually passed. Why? Because I was working, even when you could not see it, even when you doubted it, even when you questioned it. I was working. My child, one of the greatest truths you can learn is this. Your current perspective is not the complete picture. Right now, you only see part of the story. You see today's challenge. I see tomorrow's breakthrough. You see today's delay. I see tomorrow's opportunity. You see today's uncertainty. I see tomorrow's clarity. That is why trust is so important. Trust allows you to keep moving even when the entire path is not visible. Trust allows you to keep believing when answers are delayed. Trust allows you to keep hoping when circumstances seem unclear. My child, there are blessings that are currently developing beyond your sight. Conversations taking place, doors being prepared, people being positioned, circumstances aligning, opportunities forming. You cannot see them yet, but I can. And because I can see them, I need you to trust me. Not because everything makes sense, but because I see what you cannot. My child, there were seasons when you interpreted waiting as punishment. But waiting is not punishment. Waiting is often preparation. Preparation for wisdom, preparation for maturity, preparation for responsibility, preparation for blessings that require a stronger version of you. Because the person you are becoming today is capable of handling things that the person you were years ago could not handle. You have grown, you have matured, you have learned, and that growth matters more than you realize. My child, the enemy wanted you to believe that your setbacks defined your future. But setbacks do not define destiny. Mistakes do not define destiny. Disappointments do not define destiny. I define destiny. And when I look at you, I do not see a cursed person. I do not see a forgotten person. I do not see a defeated person. I see someone I love, someone I am shaping, someone I am preparing, someone with purpose, someone with potential, someone whose story is still unfolding. My child, there are people who spend years trapped by labels that were never true. Labels spoken by fear. Labels spoken by doubt. Labels spoken by criticism. Labels spoken by disappointment. But today I want those labels removed. You are not cursed. You are not doomed. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not disqualified. You are my child. You are loved. You are guided. You are protected. You are being prepared for something greater. My child, one day you will look back and realize that many of your greatest frustrations became some of your greatest blessings. You will see how delays created wisdom. You will see how disappointments created strength. You will see how waiting created patience. You will see how challenges created resilience. And when you see those things, your heart will be filled with gratitude, because you will finally understand what I was doing all along. My child, there is a future ahead of you that looks very different from the fears that once haunted you. A future with more peace, more clarity, more confidence, more understanding, more purpose, more joy. Not because every problem disappears, but because you will know me more deeply. You will trust me more fully. You will recognize my faithfulness more clearly. And that changes everything. My child, stop measuring your life by what has not happened yet. Instead, measure your life by how far I have already brought you. Look at the growth. Look at the lessons. Look at the strength. Look at the wisdom. Look at the ways I have carried you. Those things are evidence. Evidence that I am working. Evidence that I am present. Evidence that I am faithful. My child, the truth that will shock you is this. The very seasons you thought were proof of a curse may become the greatest testimonies of my faithfulness. The very struggles you wanted to escape may become the stories that inspire others. The very battles that tested you may become the evidence of how strong I made you. Nothing is wasted. Not one tear. Not one prayer. Not one lesson. Not one moment of faith. I am using it all. And I am leading you toward a future that is greater than your fears ever imagined. Trust me. Stay close to me. Keep moving forward. Because your story is not defined by a curse. Your story is defined by my love. And my love has never failed you. My child, as you continue listening, I want you to understand a truth that can completely transform the way you see your past. Many of the things that caused you pain were never sent to destroy you. They became the very things that taught you wisdom. They became the experiences that strengthened your character. They became the lessons that sharpened your discernment. And they became part of the foundation that supports the person you are becoming today. My child, there was a time when you thought every setback meant you were moving backward. But now you are beginning to understand that not all progress is visible. A tree grows roots long before anyone sees branches. A building develops a foundation long before anyone sees the completed structure. And in the same way, I was building things within you long before you could see the results. I was developing patience. I was developing faith. I was developing resilience. I was developing wisdom. Those things matter. Because the stronger the foundation, the greater the future it can support. My child, there were moments when you questioned your worth because of what happened around you. You questioned your value because someone walked away. You questioned your future because a door closed. You questioned your purpose because plans changed. You questioned your identity because circumstances became difficult. But circumstances do not determine your worth. People do not determine your worth. Success does not determine your worth. Failure does not determine your worth. I determine your worth. And I say that you are valuable. I say that you are loved. I say that you are chosen. I say that you are important. I say that your life has purpose. My child, stop allowing temporary experiences to rewrite eternal truths. A difficult season cannot cancel my promises. A delay cannot cancel my purpose. A disappointment cannot cancel my love. And a setback cannot cancel your destiny. Because what I have spoken over your life remains stronger than every obstacle you face. My child, there are blessings approaching that will require the wisdom you gained through hardship. There are opportunities approaching that will require the patience you learned during waiting seasons. There are responsibilities approaching that will require the maturity developed through difficult experiences. Nothing was wasted. Even the seasons you wanted to escape carried value. Even the chapters you wish had ended sooner carried lessons. Even the moments that brought tears carried purpose. I have been using every part of your journey. My child, I know there are still times when fear tries to return. Fear whispers old lies. Fear reminds you of old failures. Fear points toward old disappointments. Fear tries to convince you that the future will look exactly like the past. But fear is not a prophet. Fear does not know your future. Fear cannot see my plans. Fear cannot understand my purpose. Only I know the full story. And I am telling you today that your future is not limited by your past. The mistakes of yesterday do not have authority over tomorrow. The disappointments of yesterday do not have authority over tomorrow. The fears of yesterday do not have authority over tomorrow. Because I am doing a new thing in your life. My child, there are moments when you wonder whether your prayers matter, whether your faith matters, whether your persistence matters. Let me answer that clearly. Yes, every prayer matters. Every act of faith matters. Every step of obedience matters. Every moment you choose hope over despair matters. Nothing goes unnoticed. Nothing is forgotten. Nothing is wasted. I see it all, and I honor faithfulness. My child, one day you will see connections that are invisible right now. You will see why certain relationships ended. You will see why certain opportunities disappeared. You will see why certain delays happened. You will see why certain paths closed. And when you see those connections, you will understand that my hand was guiding you the entire time. You will realize that what looked like chaos often contained hidden order. What looked like rejection often contained hidden protection. What looked like loss often contained hidden blessing. My child, the truth that will shock you is not that your life was cursed. The truth that will shock you is how often I rescued you without your knowledge. How many dangers I redirected. How many mistakes I prevented. How many situations I softened. How many burdens I carried. How many times my grace protected you when you did not even realize it. One day you will understand more clearly. Until then, trust me. Trust my heart. Trust my wisdom. Trust my timing. Trust my love. Because my love for you has never changed. Not during the good seasons. Not during the difficult seasons. Not during the confusing seasons. Not during the waiting seasons. My love remained constant. And it always will. My child, keep moving forward. Keep trusting. Keep praying. Keep believing. The story is still unfolding. The journey is still continuing. The purpose is still developing. And the best chapters are still ahead. I am with you. I am guiding you. I am strengthening you. And I am leading you into a future far greater than fear ever wanted you to believe. My child, I want you to hear these words as if I am sitting beside you right now. Because there is something fear has tried very hard to hide from you. Fear wanted you to focus on everything that went wrong. Fear wanted you to focus on every disappointment. Fear wanted you to focus on every closed door. Fear wanted you to focus on every delay. But fear never wanted you to notice how many times I protected you. How many times I sustained you. How many times I rescued you. How many times I strengthened you. Because if you truly saw my faithfulness, you would realize that you were never cursed. You were covered by my grace. My child, think about all the moments when you felt like giving up. Moments when you felt exhausted. Moments when you felt discouraged. Moments when you wondered if things would ever change. Yet somehow you kept going. Somehow you found strength. Somehow you found hope. Somehow you continued forward. That strength did not come from nowhere. I was sustaining you. I was carrying you. I was strengthening you, even when you did not realize it. My child, many people assume that blessings only look like success. They assume blessings only look like open doors. They assume blessings only look like answered prayers. But blessings often arrive in forms people do not recognize. Sometimes a blessing is a closed door. Sometimes a blessing is a delayed answer. Sometimes a blessing is a changed direction. Sometimes a blessing is protection from something you desperately wanted. And because those blessings do not look the way people expect, they misunderstand them. They call them setbacks. They call them disappointments. They call them curses. When in reality, they are acts of love, acts of wisdom, acts of protection. My child, there were paths you wanted to walk that would have led to unnecessary pain. There were opportunities you wanted that would have distracted you from your purpose. There were relationships you wanted to keep that would have limited your growth. There were situations you wanted to force that were never part of my plan. And because I love you, I sometimes said no. Not to hurt you, not to punish you, but to protect you. Because my perspective is greater than yours. I can see consequences before they happen. I can see outcomes before they appear. I can see what is waiting ahead. My child, one day you will understand that some of my greatest gifts arrived disguised as unanswered prayers. You will understand that some of my greatest acts of protection arrived disguised as rejection. You will understand that some of my greatest blessings arrived disguised as delays. And when that understanding comes, your heart will be filled with gratitude, because you will see how carefully I guided your life. My child, stop measuring my love by your circumstances. Circumstances change. People change. Seasons change. But my love remains constant. When life is easy, I love you. When life is difficult, I love you. When answers come quickly, I love you. When answers take time, I love you. When you feel strong, I love you. When you feel weak, I love you. Nothing changes my love for you. Nothing. My child, there are people who allowed disappointment to convince them that they were forgotten. Do not make that mistake. A delay is not abandonment. A challenge is not rejection. A difficult season is not proof that I have left you. If anything, many difficult seasons are where my presence becomes strongest, because it is during those seasons that I teach you to trust. It is during those seasons that I teach you to lean on me. It is during those seasons that I teach you that my strength is enough. My child, your future is not defined by what happened yesterday. Your future is not defined by past mistakes. Your future is not defined by previous disappointments. Your future is not defined by fear. Your future is defined by my purpose. And my purpose for your life is greater than every obstacle you have faced, greater than every fear you have battled, greater than every setback you have endured, greater than every lie you have believed. My child, there is a season approaching where you will begin to see things differently. You will see evidence of my faithfulness. You will see evidence of my guidance. You will see evidence of my protection. You will see evidence of my love. Things that once confused you will begin making sense. Things that once hurt you will begin teaching you. Things that once seemed unfair will begin revealing hidden purpose. And when that happens, your faith will grow stronger than ever before. My child, I need you to stop calling yourself cursed. That label does not belong to you. It never did. You are not cursed. You are called. You are not forgotten. You are remembered. You are not abandoned. You are guided. You are not defeated. You are being strengthened. You are not hopeless. You are deeply loved. My child, there is still more ahead. More growth. More healing. More understanding. More peace. More joy. More purpose. This chapter is not the ending. It is only part of the journey. And I am still writing your story. Trust me with the chapters you do not understand. Trust me with the answers that have not arrived yet. Trust me with the future you cannot yet see. Because I can see what you cannot. And what I see ahead is beautiful. What I see ahead is meaningful. What I see ahead is worth every lesson you have learned. Keep walking. Keep trusting. Keep believing. Because the truth is finally becoming clear. You were never cursed. You were always in my hands. My child, as you continue this journey with me, I want you to understand something that many people spend their entire lives trying to learn. The greatest prison is not always a physical one. Sometimes the greatest prison is a false belief. A belief that says you are not enough. A belief that says you will never succeed. A belief that says your future is already decided. A belief that says you are cursed. And for years, some people live beneath the weight of those lies without ever questioning them. But today I am calling you into freedom. Because freedom begins when truth replaces fear. Freedom begins when faith replaces doubt. Freedom begins when you start seeing yourself the way I see you. My child, I have never looked at you and seen a lost cause. I have never looked at you and seen failure. I have never looked at you and seen someone beyond hope. When I look at you, I see potential. I see purpose. I see growth. I see a future filled with possibility. I see someone who has survived battles that once seemed impossible. I see someone who continued moving forward despite discouragement. I see someone who kept believing even during difficult seasons. And I am proud of the progress you have made. My child, there were times when you underestimated how far you had come. You focused on what still needed to change. You focused on what had not happened yet. You focused on what was missing. And because of that, you forgot to celebrate how much growth had already occurred. But I have seen every step. I have seen every lesson learned. I have seen every fear overcome. I have seen every moment of courage. Nothing has gone unnoticed. Nothing has been forgotten. My child, there are people listening right now who are carrying old labels. Labels given by family. Labels given by friends. Labels given by critics. Labels created through painful experiences. Labels that say they are weak. Labels that say they are unworthy. Labels that say they are destined to fail. But those labels do not come from me. And anything that does not come from me should not define your identity. I call you loved. I call you valuable. I call you chosen. I call you capable. I call you redeemed. I call you mine. Those are the labels that matter. My child, I know there are still moments when uncertainty appears. Moments when you wish you could see the entire future. Moments when you wish every answer would arrive immediately. But if I revealed everything at once, you would not need faith. And faith is one of the greatest gifts I am developing within you. Faith teaches trust. Faith teaches perseverance. Faith teaches patience. Faith teaches dependence upon me. And those lessons become treasures that last far beyond temporary circumstances. My child, stop viewing yourself through the lens of your worst day. Stop viewing yourself through the lens of your biggest mistake. Stop viewing yourself through the lens of your deepest disappointment. Those moments are not the whole story. They are only moments. They are chapters. They are experiences. But they are not your identity. Your identity is found in my love. Your identity is found in my purpose. Your identity is found in my promises. My child, there is a future waiting for you that is greater than your fears, greater than your doubts, greater than your past, greater than the limitations others placed upon you. Because I am not limited by human expectations. I am not limited by past failures. I am not limited by current circumstances. And when I decide to move in someone's life, possibilities begin appearing where none seem to exist. My child, there are blessings ahead that will remind you of my faithfulness. There are opportunities ahead that will remind you of my wisdom. There are breakthroughs ahead that will remind you of my power. And there are moments ahead that will remind you why you never should have given up. Keep believing. Keep trusting. Keep walking forward. Because every step of faith is bringing you closer to the future I am preparing. My child, one day you will tell your story with gratitude instead of confusion. You will look back at the chapters that once caused pain. You will look back at the seasons that once felt unfair. You will look back at the delays that once frustrated you. And you will see my hand in all of it. You will see how I protected you. You will see how I guided you. You will see how I strengthened you. You will see how I loved you. And that realization will fill your heart with peace. Because you will finally understand that I never left. I never abandoned you. I never forgot you. I never stopped working. My child, as we approach the end of this message, remember this. You are not defined by fear. You are not defined by failure. You are not defined by disappointment. You are not defined by the opinions of others. You are defined by my love. And my love is stronger than every lie you have ever believed. You were never cursed. You were always cared for. You were always protected. You were always guided. You were always loved. And you always will be. My child, if you have listened this far, then I want you to hear these final words deep within your heart. Because this message was never really about curses. It was never really about bad luck. It was never really about the fears that tried to convince you something was wrong with your life. This message has always been about truth. And the truth is stronger than every lie. The truth is stronger than every fear. The truth is stronger than every doubt. And the truth is this. You were never cursed. You were never forgotten. You were never abandoned. You were never outside of my care. From the very beginning, my hand has been upon your life. Even before you understood it. Even before you recognized it. Even before you believed it. I was there. My child, think about all the roads you have traveled. Think about every chapter of your story. The victories. The failures. The joys. The disappointments. The celebrations. The heartbreaks. The beginnings. The endings. Through all of it, I remained faithful. You may not have always felt my presence, but I was there. You may not have always understood my actions, but I was working. You may not have always agreed with my timing, but my timing was protecting you. Because I see what you cannot see. I know what you cannot know. And I understand what you cannot yet understand. My child, there were moments when you thought your life was falling apart. But often those moments were simply the beginning of something new. A new chapter. A new lesson. A new direction. A new opportunity. A new season. The end of one thing was creating room for another. The closing of one door was preparing the opening of another. The loss of one opportunity was making space for a better one. And while you could only see what was ending, I could see what was beginning. My child, one day you will understand how many times I protected you. How many dangers you never saw. How many wrong paths you never followed. How many mistakes I helped you avoid. How many burdens I carried for you. How many prayers I answered in ways you did not recognize. And when that understanding comes, you will realize that my love was present even during the seasons that felt confusing. Especially during those seasons. My child, I know there were times when you questioned yourself. Times when you doubted your worth. Times when you doubted your future. Times when you doubted whether things would ever improve. But I never doubted you. I never doubted the purpose I placed inside you. I never doubted the future I prepared for you. I never doubted my ability to guide you through every challenge. And because I never doubted, you do not need to doubt either. Trust me. Trust the process. Trust the path. Trust the purpose. My child, your future is not determined by fear. Your future is not determined by mistakes. Your future is not determined by disappointment. Your future is not determined by what others say about you. Your future is determined by my purpose. And my purpose is greater than every obstacle, greater than every setback, greater than every delay, greater than every fear. My child, there are blessings waiting ahead. Blessings that will remind you of my faithfulness. Blessings that will strengthen your testimony. Blessings that will deepen your gratitude. Blessings that will reveal why certain seasons had to happen exactly the way they did. You may not see them yet, but they are coming. Keep believing. Keep trusting. Keep walking, because I am leading you toward them. My child, as this message comes to a close, I want you to release every false label you have carried. Release the label of failure. Release the label of defeat. Release the label of rejection. Release the label of hopelessness. Release the label of being cursed. Those labels do not belong to you. They never belong to you. Instead, accept the truth. You are loved. You are valued. You are guided. You are protected. You are chosen. You are growing. You are learning. You are becoming stronger. And you are moving toward the future I prepared for you. My child, there will still be challenges. There will still be uncertainties. There will still be moments that test your faith. But now you know something important. Challenges do not mean you are cursed. Delays do not mean you are forgotten. Closed doors do not mean you are rejected. Difficult seasons do not mean I have abandoned you. Sometimes they simply mean I am working in ways you cannot yet see. And when you remember that truth, fear loses its power. Doubt loses its influence. Anxiety loses its control. Because faith begins to rise. My child, I want you to walk away from this message with confidence. Confidence in my love. Confidence in my wisdom. Confidence in my guidance. Confidence in my promises. Confidence that your story is not over. Because the best chapters are still ahead. The greatest lessons are still ahead. The deepest peace is still ahead. The strongest faith is still ahead. And the most beautiful parts of your journey are still being written. I have not finished with your story. I have not finished with your purpose. I have not finished with your future. The journey continues. And I will continue walking beside you. Always. Until the very end. Jesus, thank you for reminding me of the truth. Help me release every lie I have believed about myself. Help me trust your timing, your wisdom, and your purpose for my life. Give me peace where fear once lived. Give me faith where doubt once lived. Give me hope where discouragement once lived. I choose to believe that I am loved, guided, protected, and never abandoned. Thank you for carrying me through every season. I trust you with my future. Amen. If this message spoke to your heart, comment. Jesus, I believe I was never cursed. I was always in your hands.